Hey there everybody, Racecrafter here, and welcome to a new Build Ideas video. Got something a little different for you this time. I'm going to be doing a short little mini-series on how to build better in Minecraft. Now, disclaimer, I am not a master builder. However, I have learned some things and developed some techniques that I do want to share with you. And this mini-series is going to be kind of an A to Z of the process that I take and the techniques that I use on building cool builds like these ones you see behind me. Each episode is going to be kind of discussing in detail 2 or 3 different subjects, and we're going to take you through the process from start to finish, from the conception to the final product. So, having said that, if you're interested in learning how to build better in Minecraft, you might want to consider subscribing, hitting that notification bell so you don't miss out. Like I said, it will be a mini-series. You won't want to miss an episode as they are going to be going cohesively from start to finish. So if you kind of miss one, you might miss out on something really good. So let's get started. So the first thing we want to start out with here is a layout. Now, as you can see here, these are fairly unconventional layouts, and they do use some angles. Now, I know a lot of people are apprehensive about using angles, but they really do provide a lot of interest to your build, and they provide you with new opportunities for creativity on creating that interest. Now, you want to spend some time with these and kind of really work out the whole layout to your satisfaction, of course. And, you know, I tend to use a lot of symmetrical layouts. Like, for example, this one's very symmetrical, although it does use those angles. And, you know, despite the fact that it is symmetrical, it's still going to create a lot of interest. Now, when working out the shape of your layout, I will always start with a doorway. And that kind of gives you a good starting point guideline. Now, sometimes as you're kind of developing the shape of your layout, the window placement might not be quite so obvious. So I tend to kind of develop those after the fact. You kind of, you know, work with what works best for you, but I will definitely always start with a doorway, so that way you have that good starting point that you can build off of and kind of develop the rest of the layout. Now, the doorway can sometimes be 2 blocks, sometimes be 1 block. It all kind of depends on, you know, how you're working out with the layout and how you want your build to kind of look. Now, there's no rule. You can have 1 door, 1 block spacing. You can have 2 doorways. You know, there's no rules there. There's just, you know, guidelines, so to speak. So definitely start with a doorway, build off of that, and you can kind of, if you have a good idea of where you want your windows to be placed, then by all means, you know, mark those out as you develop the layout. Now, sometimes, like I said, sometimes the window placement kind of comes afterwards, and that's okay. So just keep that in mind as you're working out your layout shape. And a lot of difference, because you want your builds to stand out from everything else. You want to kind of have fun with it. Now, this one over here, not quite as unconventional, but still provides some interest and some angles. Once you start to get comfortable with the angles, the creativity in how to use them is gonna come to you. I will be showing you some of the techniques that I use for creating, you know, the interest and the wow kind of factor maybe for these angles. Like I said, you do want to spend some time on these, get them just the way you want. Now, sometimes with the angles, the even numbers are going to work more to your benefit. Other times, odd numbers are going to work better. So, you know, in that process, just kind of take your time and work out the layout so you're happy with it. Next thing we want to do is a block palette. Now, block palettes are very personal preference. So, you know, it doesn't necessarily make a difference on what blocks you use, but I want to kind of give you a guideline on how to use those blocks. So, main blocks, which would be these 4 right here, you want to use 3 to 4 maximum. You don't want to go too much, make it a little too, I want to say busy, but not so, you want to create some interest and create some different textures, but like I said, not too much. 3 to 4 on the main blocks. Next, try and incorporate a accent color. In this case, I got 2 colors. It kind of goes along with the theme of the build that I was doing for the multiplayer server, but adding that little extra pop of color can really help develop the interest for your builds. Next, you want to have 2 to 3 accent type blocks to provide some of the details and extra things around the build. That would be the smooth stone here and the cobble. And finally, not all builds require this. Not all builds, need this aspect to it, but try and incorporate an unconventional block. In this case, the smithing table, and find a way to kind of incorporate that into your build. It's going to add a lot of interest, and it's really going to make your build stand out from everyone else's. This one has 3 main blocks, the glass block, some fencing, the terracotta here for the accent color, and the smooth stone and the oak planks for the accent detailing, and the loom for the unconventional block. Over here on this one, we got just 3, pretty much the same as that last one. The light blue terracotta for the accent color, again, smooth stone and cobble for accent detailing, and actually the birch too as well. This one does not incorporate a unconventional block because, like I said, all builds don't need that, but it is a good way to add some extra interest and really make your build stand out. So next I'm just gonna kind of tour around the builds and kind of show you how I use those blocks and different ways to make those blocks work for you. And we'll start with this one right here. So looking over this build, if you were to come across this, it would be near impossible for you to take it all in one glance. And that's the main goal that I have for these videos, is to try and show you ways and give you ideas on creating a bunch of interest with your builds and drawing people in and making them want to kind of inspect and explore the build, giving them all kinds of different things to look at. And with this one, using different techniques, we have the oak logs kind of creating that main structural solidity to it, and then the stripped oak logs creating that framework that connects everything together. The dark oak slabs and stairs kind of creating interesting shapes to create an overhang that kind of connects the main logs together. Using different textures, like the stairs, upside down stairs here under the windows, kind of creating that little reveal there. And just kind of mixing up textures to create that interest and create a fluidity within the build, and using the stairs here at the bottom of the main pillar logs. Now that's a very common technique, but it's common for a reason, because it works. It anchors that pillar there and really gives it solidity to it. And with the angles back here, again, creating different overhangs with the different slabs and stairs, and not just all linear. Like the top here is fully linear, it's all running along the same line, but it kind of breaks it up by having one step down below and adding the accent colors in between, and then these dark oak slabs kind of stepping up and down and just giving it some interest there. And then here with these windows, you don't have to have glass in every window, and kind of keeping it open like that and just having the iron bars on the side, it really kind of gives a little security aspect to it, but it gives it a real interesting kind of a look. And then using these walls along the edges here, just a little detail to kind of break things up and not have such solid colors and solid textures everywhere. Moving to the inside here, also I really like these doors. Putting doors on the angle like that can really make your build stand out. And another thing too, with these smooth stone blocks here at the base, kind of creating that foundation, solidifying the whole build down and anchoring it down, so it doesn't look like it's just sitting on the grass. It looks like it's actually built into the ground, giving it that real solid look. And then going inside here, this is where I've used the unconventional block, the smithing table, in a checkerboard kind of pattern on the floor with polished andesite, and then kind of just adding a little bit of that color with the white and the blue with the carpet, just kind of giving it that little bit of pop, and having the color kind of stay visible on the inside here. I don't think it, oh yeah, it is on the inside and the front here too. Just kind of, you know, just to give that pop of color, bringing the outside inside. Using trapdoors along the top here to kind of break up those textures, you know, with the connected texture. And just kind of adding the detail again with the slabs and the stairs, creating an overhang on the inside and at different levels, and, you know, just things like that. And then adding, instead of having this just all be the stripped logs, adding this smooth stone, a couple smooth stone slabs there, kind of breaks it up and gives it a little difference. Moving on here to build number 2, using the same techniques and some similarities, again with the stairs, this time above the windows to kind of give that reveal on the top side. And again with the overhangs, kind of with the stairs and the slabs, creating a nice reveal and kind of connecting the main pillar logs. And this time, instead of using stairs at the base, I use slabs, kind of anchoring it down. And, you know, with the yellow terracotta there, you know, using some stairs tucked in the corner there and a slab right here, kind of changing the elevation of it. It gives a little bit of interest, but not too much to take away from what I was trying to accomplish by really having that big pop of color there. And then again with the same techniques of the overhang and these smooth stone slabs kind of at different levels. And then for the windows here at the angles, combining blocks with panes kind of gives it a real interest to it as well. And then down here, you know, you're adding the stairs. You're not. I don't typically, like right here at the front, these stone bricks go right down to the grass. There's nothing in front there to kind of anchor it or to kind of, you know, create that foundation. Sometimes, you know, you don't have to do all that, and sometimes I don't, but most of the time I do like to add something along the base, along the face of the walls, just to give it that solidity to it, so it looks like it's built right into the ground. And then also with these windows here, taking advantage of the fact that iron bars connect with glass panes, you can create these cool windows by using, you know, glass panes and the iron bars in a pattern that makes it look different. It's not just glass there. It's got some interest and some difference to it, making your build stand out. And then here on the final build to show you, and this time with using trapdoors here for the overhang, combined with the stairs, and using the stairs to create that C kind of a shape and just give it a little bit of interest there, using the fences up here above the doorway with the accent color behind there, just enough to give that reveal of that color. And again, using the stairs to anchor down the main framework of the pillars, but this time in the corners here, I use, you know, stack the slabs up and then use the fence posts here to kind of solidify and create support. And then again here with the iron bars and the glass and the openness here on this one, you know, you don't have to create a block and make a solid wall there. You can just put, you know, just the wall and kind of give it that airiness to it and create that difference. And then up here with the smooth stone slabs kind of in line with these dark oak wood slabs is just, you know, in a somewhat kind of a random pattern kind of thing, but to, you know, just kind of break it up and give it some kind of interest. And using these smooth stone slabs up here in this configuration, you're creating reveals and you're creating shadow points and things like that, and it really creates a lot of interest. And here with these windows, again with the iron bars and the glass panes, it breaks it up and then, you know, switching out and going with the fences in there on that window there. It's not just a solid glass part for a window. It you know, gives it a lot of difference and interest to it. And then up here on the roof, I like to use these smooth stone slabs as toppers on top of the main pillar posts, and then kind of use the wall and the fence post, and occasionally, I think on the first build over there, with iron bars on top, kind of creating that whole conical, you know, step up from the block to the wall to the fence post to the iron bar. It really creates that nice, nice smooth upward shape. And on your roofs, you want to use some different textures or different colors. Try and create a pattern to kind of create that interest. And here, you know, this particular build, I couldn't figure a way to really smooth out this whole transition here. So by leaving that reveal there with the accent color behind and then adding those fence posts there, it solved that problem for me and creates some interest and some very much a difference to the build. So just to quickly summarize for this short episode here of getting started and planning out things, take your time, plan out your layouts. Don't be afraid to use angles. Angles can be very, very interesting. They can be, you know, a little difficult to work with, but just take your time with it. You will get it. I guarantee it. Start with a doorway. Give yourself a guideline and a starting point to kind of build off of that. And have fun with the shapes. Don't, you know, like this one, it doesn't look like it's gonna be anything, but then all of a sudden you start building and this is what you can build from something like that. You know, you would never imagine this layout is actually underneath this build. So don't get discouraged if your layout looks kind of funky and weird, because that's interesting. Once you get that build going and you kind of cover everything up, it really all comes together. And, you know, for when you're first starting out, start slow with something, you know, like this, where it's more square, but it's got just a little hint of angles here and there. You know, kind of get yourself used to working with those angles and finding different ways to make those angles interesting and kind of incorporating them into your builds. So I hope this first episode here is giving you some good ideas and kind of helped you kind of get started building, you know, with a little different style and in a little different process that maybe from what you're used to. And remember, this is a short mini series, so if this has been helpful to you and you want to learn more, be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next episodes coming out. In the next episode, we're going to be discussing how to create depth and dimension, as well as working with connected textures and how to kind of separate those and different ways of doing that so that you don't have a very flat surface. You kind of give those reveals and things like that. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next episode. I'm out of here. See ya.